Welcome to 10-Minute Tactical, the channel that goes in-depth on all things military. Today we're going to be discussing the M1A1 Abrams, one of the most powerful and iconic main battle tanks in the world. Before doing that, I want to thank everybody that watched the first video. And if you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to help us out. Now let's talk tanks. During the 1960s, the U.S. Army, in collaboration with Germany, began to investigate options to replace both the M60 and Leopard 1 main battle tanks. They proposed creating single design for the two countries that would be able to outperform the Soviets' T-62 and newly designed T-70 tanks. Under the direction of Major General William de Sobry, and using design studies from the Tank Automotive and Armaments Command, known as TACOM, the XM-1 program began in January 1972. A high priority for the new tank was protection, specifically protection from the 115 and 125 mm guns found on the new Soviet tanks, which were capable of firing devastating armor-piercing sabot and high-explosive anti-tank rounds. With the assistance of the British company Chobham Common, a new generation of armor was created, named after the company. The new Chobham armor would become the first ceramic-based armor used on a main battle tank. Although the construction details of the Chobham armor remain a secret, it has been described as being composed of ceramic tiles encased within a metal framework and bonded to a backing plate and several elastic layers. Owing to the extreme hardness of the ceramics used, they offer superior resistance against shaped charges such as high-explosive anti-tank or heat rounds, and they shatter kinetic energy penetrators like the sabot. Also new to the tank was a 120 mm smoothbore main gun. This was larger than the 105 mm guns found on previous U.S. main battle tanks. Testing showed that the 120 mm design was generally superior to the 105, offering better fire control and turret stabilization systems. It would also allow for a new type of ammunition which used depleted uranium. These rounds would give it the performance needed to defeat any Soviet tank with ease. This new gun was enhanced by a state-of-the-art fire control system. The system is made up of a number of parts, including the ballistic computer, the commander's independent thermal viewer, and the gunner's primary sight. The turret-mounted gunner's primary sight is equipped with a stabilized gunner's sight, a thermal imaging system, and a laser rangefinder. The gunner can calculate the distance to a target using the rangefinder, and even in low light, they can see the battlefield clearly thanks to the thermal imaging system. The stabilizer allows the gunner to maintain the crosshairs on the target while the tank is moving at high speeds and over rough or uneven terrain. The system also lets the tank commander search for targets independently of the gunner thanks to the independent thermal viewer that is mounted on the turret. The commander can recognize targets that might not be visible through the gunner's sight by employing the thermal image of the battlefield that the viewer also provides. Finally, concerns about range and reliability of the older internal combustion engines found on previous tanks was addressed. Designers installed a gas turbine engine, usually associated with jets. The AGT-1500 is a multi-fuel engine that can run on diesel and kerosene. It produces up to 1,500 horsepower and has a power-to-weight ratio of over 1 horsepower per kilogram, making it one of the most powerful tank engines in the world. It also allows the tank to reach speeds above 40 miles per hour and provides for exceptional acceleration. By early 1978, design and testing were completed and production began. A total of 3,273 M1 Abrams tanks were produced from 1979 to 1985 and first entered U.S. Army service in 1980. A second large order was completed by 1992. 5,000 Abrams were produced from 1986 to 1992 and featured the M256 120 mm smoothbore cannon, improved armor consisting of depleted uranium and other classified materials, and a CBRN protection system. In all, a total of some 9,000 Abrams were produced at the cost of $4.3 million per unit. The crew of the M1 Abrams tank consists of 4 people.
Gunner, tank loader.
Driver, sir.
My job is tank commander on an M1A2 tank, sir.
Each member of the crew has a distinct role to play in the tank's operation. The tank commander is in charge of overseeing the tank's overall operation. They are responsible for coordinating the tank's movement, identifying and engaging enemy targets, and ensuring the crew's safety. In addition, the commander is in charge of monitoring the tank's systems and communicating with other friendly units on the battlefield. The gunner is in charge of the tank's main weapon system, the 120 mm smoothbore cannon. The gunner is also in charge of the tank's secondary weapons systems, which include a 50 caliber machine gun. The loader is responsible for loading the tank's main gun. They ensure that the proper ammunition is loaded into the gun, and that it is ready to fire when the gunner commands it. The loader also operates the ammunition handling system on the tank, which stores and organizes the ammunition. The driver is in control of operating the tank's controls and maneuvering. They are in charge of the tank's engine starting and stopping, shifting gears and steering. The driver must also navigate the tank through difficult terrain while avoiding obstacles and hazards on the battlefield. It would not be long before the tank and its crews would first see action in combat. In 1991, during the First Gulf War, a total of 1,848 M1A1s were deployed to Saudi Arabia to participate in the liberation of Kuwait. The tank was superior to Iraq's Soviet-era T-55 and T-62 tanks, as well as T-72 versions imported from the Soviet Union and Poland. The M1A1 could kill other tanks at ranges in excess of 2,500 meters. This meant Abrams tanks could hit Iraqi tanks before the enemy got in range, a decisive advantage in modern ground combat. Very few M1 tanks were hit by enemy fire and none were destroyed. This resulted in a zero fatality rate for the tank crews. But the tank did obtain battle scars as a total of 23 M1A1s were damaged. Additionally, 9 Abrams tanks were destroyed, 7 were destroyed by friendly fire, and 2 intentionally destroyed to prevent capture by the Iraqi army. In 2003, the tanks would again find themselves in the deserts of the Persian Gulf, this time as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. In their push to Baghdad, one notable skirmish occurred. Approximately 18 miles south of the capital, Abrams tanks found themselves in a point-blank engagement with Iraqi T-72s at a range of less than 50 meters. Within minutes, all 7 of the Iraqi tanks were destroyed with 0 losses for American forces. During this second conflict, Iraqi infantrymen ambushed some Abrams tanks and disabled them. Short-range anti-tank rockets were used by some troops, who fired them at the vehicle's undercarriage, rear, and roof. By March 2005, approximately 80 Abrams tanks were forced out of action by enemy attacks. 63 were shipped back to the U.S. for repairs, while 17 had to be scrapped. Since the 2 Gulf Wars, the tanks have seen combat in a number of other conflicts. While having limited use in the mountains of Afghanistan, the U.S. Marine Corps deployed a small detachment of 14 M1A1 Abrams tanks from Delta Company, 1st Tank Battalion, 1st Marine Division to southern Afghanistan in support of operations in Helmand and Kandahar provinces. Saudi Arabian Abrams were deployed near the Saudi Arabian-Yemeni border. Currently, President Joe Biden said that the U.S. would send 31 M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, stating that this was intended to enhance the Ukraine's capacity to defend its territory and achieve its strategic objectives, and was not an offensive threat to Russia. Ukraine is not the only country to operate the tank. Other countries using it include Australia, Egypt, Iraq, Kuwait, and Morocco. One of the most notable countries to operate the M1 Abrams is Saudi Arabia, which has a large fleet of M1A2 Abrams tanks. Today, the U.S. Army is looking to produce a smaller, cheaper, and lighter tank, which can leverage new advancements in technology such as artificial intelligence. As they move towards that end, the Abrams has proven so successful that the U.S. Department of Defense is still upgrading the platform. The newest Abrams, referred to as the M1A2 SEPv4, is under development. It includes several upgrades, which include a 3rd-generation forward-looking infrared sensor, upgraded laser rangefinder, and full-color video camera. An improved commander's primary sight with a 3rd-generation FLIR and full-color video camera, as well as a laser pointer. Improved lethality to include the digital data link able to communicate with the new reprogrammable XM1147 advanced multi-purpose round for the tank's main gun. Lastly, improvements were made to the ballistic computer's accuracy and communications. That brings us to the end of our discussion of the M1 Abrams. The Abrams has proven to be one of the most capable and effective main battle tanks in the world, thanks to its advanced armor and powerful firepower, as well as its exceptional mobility and advanced electronics. Since its introduction in the 1980s, the M1 has seen action in numerous conflicts and has proven its effectiveness in combat. We hope you found this video interesting and learned something new about the United States' premier main battle tank. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more military-related videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.